Hello and welcome to this week's Used Car Heaven. Well, it's a bit of a 4x4 off-roader special this week. In part one of the programme, we've got three smallish off-roaders, a diesel Jeep Cherokee, also a petrol Land Rover Freelander, and a car that's a fairly rare sight on our roads, the Honda CR-V. These three cars will go head to head. We'll give you an in-depth look at each of them and tell you which we think is the best car to buy. And in part two, another Land Rover product, the Discovery. Been around for a long time, lots of them out there on the used car market, but what you need to look for if you fancy a Discovery, we'll tell you. Now these Jeeps, real good mud pluggers and good for reliability as well.
Yeah, very good. The 2.5 litre turbo diesel, the most popular in the Jeep Cherokee range. The reason being is, I think, fuel consumption. Obviously the 4 litres use fuel like it's going out of fashion. Talking about fashion though, it's got the most rugged looks out of all the four-wheel drives, but it certainly does the job.
It does have that sort of rugged, quite quirky look, but that does appeal to quite a lot of people, doesn't it?
Yes, it's the classic American four-wheel drive Jeep look, really, and it appeals to most people that just want a rugged four-wheel drive.
So how are these cars holding up in value now? What sort of depreciation are we looking at on something like this?
Well, the four-wheel drive market really did go into its own when the hot hatches became very difficult to insure, so everybody decided to go for a more fun car if they couldn't have the performance. But they are now coming down to realistic values as insurances on sportier cars has got more reasonable.
So when this was new, we were looking, what, 18,000, 20,000 pounds, something like that?
Just around about £20,000 from the main dealer, but this one, 2 years old now, priced at £10,000, has held its value quite well compared to other vehicles in other markets.
What else do you need to look out for on the Jeeps if you're going to go and buy one from somewhere? Are there any other major things that you need to be aware of?
Certainly, you need transmission on four-wheel drives is always a major concern, because it needs to, if it's done a lot of off-road work, or if it's done some heavy towing, it needs to have been serviced on a regular basis as well. You need to make sure that the vehicle is in tip-top condition.
The Jeep Cherokee is getting a bit long in the tooth, but they still seem to sell well in this country. Build quality and reliability is generally good, and since the launch in 1993, thousands have been sold in the UK. So where do prices start? Well, low. We saw a 1994 M-Reg 2.5 Sport with 77,000 miles on the clock for sale for just £5,000. An N-Reg 2.5 Sport again with 58,000 miles for just under £6,000.
Now, Jeeps have a fantastic name for durability and reliability, and they've been building 4x4 off-roaders even longer than the Land Rover company has. So they really know what they're talking about. These cars are very rugged and will do the business if you need to go off-road. Now, Jeeps first started coming to the UK as left-hand drive cars only until 1993, when they were officially imported as proper right-hand drive versions. So the earliest example of a Jeep Cherokee like this you're going to find is on a 1993 K-plate. If you're looking for a car, well, you need to look either to the 4-litre V6, which is very thirsty, or to these 2.5 turbo diesels, which are less thirsty. The petrol cars tend to get a bit more standard equipment than the diesels do, like climate control and leather upholstery, if that matters to you. But the diesel cars like this are still pretty well equipped. It's got electric windows, electric mirrors, power assisted steering, ABS brakes, twin airbags, and a decent stereo system. It's very comfortable. The diesel engine is not the most refined one in the world. It's a bit clattery at tick over and at low speeds, but to be honest, when you're out on the road and you're motoring a bit, even at something like this at 40 miles an hour, it's fairly quiet, to be honest, into the cabin. It's not the quickest car in the world either, and this has got a 5-speed manual gearbox, but it trundles along quite nicely. There is, by the way, an all-new Jeep Cherokee out later this year. We've already seen it in America. It's called the Liberty, and it will address many of the problems that this car has. Although, having said that, this is not a bad car. So the Honda CR-V, you don't see too many of these about. I mean, they're quite a rare car, but they're also, having said that, quite sought after, aren't they?
Yeah, because they didn't come in big numbers, obviously Honda being restricted to the amount of cars that they can import at any one time, they were quite a limited market, or so they thought when they first came out. just a taste under £20,000 new. People, thought they wouldn't compete with the likes of the Freelander or the Discovery, that type of way.
I think build quality really is the key to buying this, isn't it? You know, if you buy a CRV, that, well, really nothing is going to go wrong, is it?
Well, that's the residual value reflects that. I mean, it's this one is dearer than the other two, priced at just under £12,000. 2 years old has held its value better than the other two that we've been looking at. The reason being is obviously because of the build quality, and people feel comfortable buying a Honda.
But it also had some quirky little features, like on various specifications of the CRV, they came as standard with things like a shower and a fridge of all things. Quite bizarre, but I suppose useful in some ways.
Obviously directed at people that actually are out in the countryside and want to use it. I mean, obviously people saying, well, who would have a shower at the side of the road? Well, obviously if you've got a couple of dogs and they've been out in a muddy field or whatever, you want to shower them off before you get them into your lovely new car.
And like most Japanese cars, equipment level as standard is pretty high. It's got a lot on it, hasn't it?
Very high indeed, yes, especially for the value of the vehicle. It costs the same as the other two, but obviously comes with slightly more.
The Honda CR-V is a car I really rate. It may not be the best looker, but it's the best for equipment, ride and comfort. For instance, we saw a 97R with 24,000 miles for sale for around £11,000, or a 1998 with 40,000 miles for under £10,000. The CR-V is a fairly rare car, and the right one will sell quickly at a main dealer or as a private sale. There are a few manual versions of the CR-V if that's what you want, but we recommend the slick shifting auto versions as the best bet.
Honda decided to launch the CR-V in 1997 to take on, well, mainly the Toyota RAV4, which had had what I would describe as the sensible off-road sized vehicle market to itself for so long. So this car was going to go head-to-head against their great rivals from Toyota, so Honda knew that it had to be good. And there are very few cars from Honda which aren't good. And this is a good one, believe me. It's comfortable, it's spacious, it's maybe a little bit bigger than the likes of the Freelander. It's got plenty of room in the back for the passengers and also decent boot space too. There's only basically one car in the range, and it's this 2-litre with a 137 brake horsepower engine. Performance is not fantastic, it just goes very well. Most of the CR-Vs that you'll find on the market these days will have an automatic box. There are a few manuals about, but to be honest, it's a very good, very refined, very comfortable automatic box to use, although it does have a column-mounted gear shift like American cars, which, to be honest, I quite like. I think it has quite a stylish design to it as well, the CR-V, without looking sort of too boxy and too bulbous as some 4x4 off-roaders are these days. But if you are looking for a 4x4 vehicle that can do some serious mud plugging, then the CR-V from Honda is probably not the car for you. It has an automatic select four-wheel drive system, which once it detects any of the wheels starting to slip, will kick in and get you out of any trouble. But this is not the sort of car to go over big muddy fields, because it just won't do the job, and don't think that it will do. It's more at home, cruising down the roads and going to the supermarket and doing shopping trips and things like that, but it's a very capable long-distance cruiser too.
So, the Freelander, very popular, they sell very well. Petrols, maybe not quite as much as the diesels though, I would guess.
No, obviously, again, the four-wheel drive market, diesels are the one that's been sought after, because obviously petrol prices, because they do use slightly more fuel than even large cars. It's just that they seem a little bit more powerful. The turbo diesels are the one that people like to put on the driveways.
Now, Land Rover have come in for criticism over reliability with the whole of their product range, not just the Freelander, but I think they are gradually beginning to get things right, aren't they?
I mean, they really have been working hard on reliability. I mean, these cars came with a 3-year manufacturer's warranty, which was a first for a Rover, which is absolutely bob on. I mean, these cars, when they were first launched, needed the warranties. There have been problems with engines and gearboxes, etc. The same with the Discoveries, though, to be fair, when they were first launched. So they've sorted out very quickly by the main dealers. So the things to watch out for is make sure the car's got a full service history if you're buying it, and preferably with a manufacturer's warranty on it.
So with the reduction in prices by the manufacturers, they've knocked something off the new price, and that's had an effect onto used car values like this, I guess.
Yes, it does, and also the anticipation of the manufacturers dropping the value. They weren't forthcoming with how much they were going to drop them by, whether they were going to drop them at all, and just the thought of them coming down in price helped push down the used car prices. This vehicle, same with every other car, has lost a very large chunk within the first 12 months. In the next 12 months it will lose, I would say, another couple of £1,000.
There's no doubt the Freelander is a clever 4x4, aimed mainly at the leisure market rather than serious off-roaders. Launched in 1997 with petrol and diesel engines, neither of which, to be honest, are brilliant, but now with the recent addition of a 2.5 V6 with an automatic gearbox as an option, so it will appeal to buyers in America. Freelanders are not particularly cheap, new or used. Look to pay around £14,000 for an S-Reg 3-door with a hardback with 23,000 miles on the clock. Look out for cars in private ads where prices should be at least £2,000 cheaper than main dealers.
So Land Rover had pretty much a complete range. They had a large luxury 4x4 in the Range Rover, they had a medium-sized 4x4 in the Discovery, and of course they had the Defender as well, but they just needed something else to fill that gap in the small to medium-sized 4x4 sector. Something to take on the likes of the Japanese competitors like the RAV4 and the Suzukis and various cars like that. So in 1997, Land Rover introduced the Freelander to pretty well much universal acclaim. It was very well received at the time, and you can see why. It's got a very smart design both inside and out. In fact, we've been saying this has probably got the nicest interior of the three cars that we've got on test here. Fairly basic cars inside, to be perfectly honest, not too many extras. This car, well, it's got electric windows, it's got electric mirrors, it's got a driver's airbag, it's got a stereo system, and to be honest, that is about it. If you want things like leather, air conditioning, you have to pay extra. It does have one or two letdowns. This car is not fantastic to drive, mainly due to the fact that it's not got a very good clutch in this case, but let's just hope that that's a one-off example. This has done 21,000 miles, it's only about a year old, and it would retail for just under £13,000 at the moment, so they are holding on to their value pretty well. So it's finally decision time. Which of these three 4x4s do we think is the best? First of all, the Land Rover Freelander. I've got to say I've been mildly disappointed in this car. Having never driven one before, I was looking forward to having a go in this and seeing what it was like, but comfort, refinement, seating position, things like that, all a bit of a letdown, to be honest, and the 1.8 engine, not fantastic either. The Jeep I really like. I know it looks old and it looks far too 1980s, but it's going to be replaced soon. But I still like these old shaped Jeeps, plus it's got a very good, very usable 2.5 turbo diesel unit in it. So finally onto the Honda CR-V, which I think is kind of a compromise between all of these cars on test. It's well equipped, it's got a good automatic gearbox, it's comfortable, it's refined, and you know it's got great build quality and is not going to let you down. Plus it's not going to depreciate too much more over the years to come. So if I was choosing, I'd have the Honda CR-V for around about £12,000 for an example like this. That's all for this part of Used Car Heaven. Join us again for more in part 2, when we'll be driving some used discoveries. Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Used Car Heaven. Now, the Land Rover Discovery is one of the most popular, if not the most popular 4x4s on the market today. It's been around quite a few years now and there are plenty available on the used market. But there are lots of different models, different engines, special editions. You need to look at the age, the condition, the history and the mileage to see what is the best buy. So we'll guide you through a bit of a minefield if you're looking for a Discovery in this part of Used Car Heaven. Nick, when they first brought out the Discovery, an almost budget sort of Land Rover for them, certainly compared to the price of a Range Rover, was that to really compete against the threat of the Japanese and the likes of the Shoguns and so forth?
Yeah, partially that, and it was just a revamped, more modern, bright vehicle, which the area inside appealed to a different generation of people as well. Made it more of a user day thing.
When they first brought the Series 1 out,
I mean, quite a wacky interior, really, in a way, designed by Terence Conran, of all
That's
people.
right, yeah. It was very up to the minute, and unfortunately, as time's gone on, like anything that's very modern, it soon becomes out of date. But again, a very cleverly designed interior, loads of utility spaces, just a neat concept from front to back, and very light inside.
And how did they go down at the time? Did they sell well? Did the public take to them?
Discoveries went extremely well from the word go. We saw our Range Rover sales slow down. We thought it wouldn't affect the sales of Range Rovers, but it did. They were very keenly priced, and it was the fact that most of them were diesels, whereas the Range Rover diesel had struggled for years.
Before the launch in 1989 of the Discovery, Mitsubishi's Shogun had the mid-size 4x4 market to themselves. But the Discovery changed all that and led in some part to the huge rise in popularity for 4x4s. It really was pretty revolutionary at the time. Early examples are found on a Jeep plate, although finding one in good condition, to be honest, is becoming harder. What about reliability? What should you be looking for in those cars?
Well, the engines are extremely sound. They were only a small engine, 2.5 litre, and we didn't think that an engine could put out that much power and be so reliable. The engines are very, very good. The one thing that tends to let them down is the use of the old Rover 5-speed gearbox. Quite a few problems with those. Very easy to detect. The gearbox should be quiet. If it's making any noises, especially first, second and third, and synchro on second gear is suspect on them. Just leave it alone.
What about rust? Was that a problem around the tailgate area?
Because the tailgate on a Discovery is aluminium, unlike their old Range Rover, which was steel, you don't get as many rust problems. The body shell itself is the same. You do get the oxidisation on the panels though.
What's the best gearbox to go for, manual or auto?
Auto always. If you can find an auto Discovery diesel, they drive better than the manuals, and the auto boxes, like the Range Rover, it's a ZF 4-speed box, extremely reliable.
A manual 3.5 petrol could cost around £3,500 for one of these early cars. An H-Reg TDIS with 70,000 miles on the clock sold privately for just under £5,000. If you don't mind the cost of petrol, the smooth and refined 3.9 V8 with ES trim, which gets you leather and air conditioning and more, will cost around £11,000 with average mileage.
So was it really 1989 when they first launched the Discovery? Yes, it most certainly was. Those early cars, the earliest examples you'll find on a G plate with that, well, now infamous Terence Conran designed interior. It was certainly stylish at the time. Now it looks a little bit dated, certainly when you compare it against the later cars like this with the restyled dash and new front and various other changes that they made to the Discoveries in about 1994. But it's a very good car to drive. Of course, you get that commanding driving position. There's quite a lot of body roll on the early cars due to the fact that there weren't any anti-roll bars. But once they became standard on cars like this, it became a lot better car to handle.
The facelifted Discoveries were launched in 1994 and are a much better car to drive and own. Don't rush into buying one though. There are plenty on the market either privately or at specialist and main dealers. And they're not highly technical cars to service, but watch out for main dealer prices, which can be astronomical.
Now, a lot of people have questioned the reliability of the Discoveries, and sure, they've had their problems over the years, but it's a car that I really like, and it's a car that we actually owned as our family car. We bought it brand new in 1993. It was a 3.5 V8 automatic. It was a 3-door car, and in 4 years of motoring and some 50,000 miles or so, it never let us down once. It was ultra reliable. It's also quite an expensive car to service, let me tell you, if you take it to a main dealer. We once took it to a main dealer for its 48,000 mile service and were quoted an astonishing £1,200 plus VAT for its service. After a bit of haggling and a bit of negotiations and trading off one dealer against another, it eventually cost us £500 instead, but even that's not particularly cheap. One car to be avoided in the Discovery range, and there aren't too many about, is the 2-litre MPI. Quite why Land Rover decided to launch a car with so little power is, well, one of those strange mysteries. But the 2-litre MPI is a petrol car that is just too underpowered for a car like this. So avoid those at all costs. Now, as well as the standard range of Discoveries, there are lots of special editions which have been launched over the years, and this is one in particular. It's called the Avimore. What this car got were extra smart alloy wheels, also a CD changer, and as you can see inside, it's a very comfortable car. It's very smart. The dashboard is well designed and everything is easily at hand. Plus, in the back, it also got twin sunroofs. Only manual ones on this car here, but on some models like the ES, you'll find those twin sunroofs are electric. But it's a very roomy car, practical as well, ideal for the family, lots of room for all the kids back here, and lots of room for them to put all their bits and bobs, which inevitably they take with them when you go off on journeys. And also back here as well, bags and bags of room, plus the option of having the extra 2 jump seats, which very easily fold out like that. I wouldn't want to particularly go a long distance sat on seats like that, and really they're kids' seats more than anything else, but I guess adults could sit on those in a short journey. But the great thing about the Discovery is the amount of space. You have all that space to load up, plus the seats go flat as well, and you can be carrying loads and loads of stuff on your holidays or whatever else you might need this sort of size of car for. Well, that's it for this edition of Used Car Heaven. I hope that we've shown you some really good ideas of cars to buy this week. Not least the Land Rover Discovery, a good car on-road and off-road, and a great practical family car as well, and pretty good value for money too. We'll be back again at the same time next week though, with more great ideas here on Used Car Heaven.